I've defended the constitutional rights of a number of individuals and helped protect individuals in the courts because taxing power belongs to Congress, the Senate, and the House, not the president. So when I think of border control, I think about protecting the border, not necessarily going inland to cities, within the United States. We're spending all this money on correctional facilities, as you have stated. But if we spend more money on education, I do plan to look at the issues and all taxing issues and just try to make it fair for all Americans.
Hey everyone, and welcome to In the Running, a podcast where we bring your local elections to life.
We're your hosts, May Dapkus and Olivia Self, two juniors at Mountain Brook High School.
We started this podcast to help inform voters on who is running in their local elections and what those candidates do on a citywide scale.
So, we're asking the real questions about their goals, values, and what they want to do for your communities across Alabama. This is In the Running. Hello everyone, and welcome to In the Running. We're your hosts, May Dapkus.
And I'm Olivia Self, and today we're pleasured to be with Mr. Everett Wess, who is running for a possible seat in the U.S. Senate.
That is correct. Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Thank you for inviting me. It's great to be here.
Thank you for being here.
All right.
We want to know a little bit about you outside of your campaign. So is there anything you want to tell us about your backstory, your hobbies, or interests, anything like that?
Well, I've had a diverse career, so I can tell you a little bit about my educational background. I majored in music education for 2 years and decided I did not want to be a teacher, so I moved on and majored in computer science and mathematics. And I worked in Huntsville, Alabama, up at Redstone Arsenal for various subcontractors. And I've written and maintained software for NASA on some NASA projects and for the Army on some Army contracts. Again, I worked on an MBA also while I was in Huntsville, Alabama. And in 1997, I moved to Birmingham, Alabama, and began working for Bell South, which is now AT&T, supporting IT for some of the Bell South employees and customers. So after I moved to Birmingham, I decided to matriculate back into law school. And after finishing law school, after 3 years, I worked in the IT field and then began my fledgling career in law. And once I had practiced law for about a year, I decided I'd practice law full time. So I worked in the field of IT for about 17 years, been a lawyer for 25 years. But in my career as a lawyer, I have worked as a judge for 8 years for the city of Midfield. I've been their municipal court judge. I've also been a prosecutor before taking the judgeship for the city of Midfield. And I've been a public defender for the city of Irondale for about 5 years. So I've defended the constitutional rights of a number of individuals and help protect individuals in the courts. And so that's some of my educational background, and those are some of the things that I've done in the field of law. I have also just worked within the community in Alabama and outside of Alabama. I'm on the board of directors for a group called Legacy Works that reaches out to at-risk young African-American men. And we try to give them different experiences with trades. And I think we had a mock trial scenario for them with some other lawyers and judges. And that was a part that I played. I'm also on the board of directors for a organization called Child Haven, which is located in Coleman, Alabama. And this is a residential home for young girls. And they have house parents, and they have, they live in the homes with these house parents, and they go to school and they get jobs, and then they help them to transition into regular life if things don't get together with them and their parents. So a lot of these girls come into Child Haven through the Department of Human Resources. And those are some things that I do that are rewarding, working as a board member, trying to help young people find a way to be successful in life.
And Child Haven is a Christian children's home.
It is a Christian children's. You heard of that, huh?
We researched a little bit.
Okay.
Yes. So, and you're also attend the Avondale Church.
I do attend the Avondale Church of Christ, which is not far from here at all.
Oh, really?
That is correct.
Okay. What role does faith take in the realm of government and policy, and how will your faith affect how you serve in the Senate, if possible?
Faith affects me, and it causes me to be the best possible person that I can be in life. I do understand that the Bible and the Constitution of the United States are two different documents. They're not necessarily the same. I believe that I can believe in my faith and have my faith, but also support the Constitution of the United States, which, our founding fathers found, the Constitution on a lot of godly principles. Even on our coin, it says, in God we trust, right? So, I think at one time, maybe the biblical principles and the laws of the United States were closer than they are today. But, over time, some of that changes for various reasons. But I think, to answer your question, I think that my faith enables me to be the best person I can be. It puts me in a position where I want to help people, do things for people, and protect the rights of Alabama citizens and United States citizens.
So your background is interesting because, music education, computer science, and then you became a lawyer, but now you're running for senator.
That is correct.
What kind of got you involved in public service and made you want to start doing this?
Well, I, again, when I was in the IT field, that was a good job, earning good income.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do something to help people. And I think that's why I got into law in the beginning, because I saw a way that I could go out and give citizens, people in Alabama, people in the surrounding cities of Jefferson County, good legal representation. So, that's just part of it, trying to help others and do for others and protect the rights of others and help them navigate through the legal process. And, at that time, I decided to practice law. I didn't think there were, an overabundance of African-American lawyers. And I just wanted to be a part of that group and see if I could make a difference in life.
If elected to Senate, what would be your top 3 measurable goals for your term?
All right. Some things that I want to do is stabilize government. Number one, I have a passion for the people who work for the government. For instance, we have people who work for NASA in Huntsville, Alabama. We have people who work for the Army. We have people who work for the VA. They are medical providers. And with the current administration, I think they came in with the DOGE Act, and it disrupted, a lot of individuals and a lot of individuals' lives. Some individuals were fired if they had not been employees of the government for 90 days. Some were pushed to take early retirement. Some just didn't know if their work would continue to be there. So, one of the things I want to do is stabilize government. What this instabilization cause was, you had people who had families. They had mortgages. They paid rent. They had car payments. They had children in school. They had children in college. They had food bills. You know, a lot of individuals who voted said, "Oh, we think the government should cut back on SNAP, food for children, WIC, women, infants, and children." But the government funds the VA also, and it funds NASA also, and it funds these other government jobs that we have. So some people feel like the administration went too far when it affected their lives. But we need to find a balance on all sides and make sure that able-bodied people are working, but at the same time that women, infants, and children are taken care of. And that's something that goes back to my faith as well. We want to take care of people who are unable to take care of themselves. And if we can help them get on their feet and get going in life, that's what we want for every American citizen, then I think we should do that.
Yeah. So in Congress, a lot of what you'd be dealing with is like budgeting issues. So what do you think about addressing the national debt without harming hardworking Americans with the money that Alabama gets from the government for things like infrastructure and agriculture?
All right, let's talk about budgeting a little bit. Congress, pursuant to Article 1, has the authority to create agencies and to fund these agencies, right?
Yeah.
And also have the authority for oversight. And some of that has not happened in some of the things that I just described with the jobs and WIC and SNAP. The administration just feel like they can unilaterally make a decision and make these cuts and that type of thing. But I want to provide the oversight as it is outlined in the Constitution under Article 1. As your U.S. Senator, I would like to make sure that funds are allocated and used in the way that they're meant to be used when this pot of money is set aside for the different agencies in the government.
Yeah. How do you plan to seek cross-party collaboration on certain issues? And what do you think is an issue that really needs that support from both parties that we aren't necessarily getting right now?
Right now, there seems to be a polarization
Yeah.
in our nation. But I'm hoping that we can bring our nation back together, bring people back together. We all live in these cities together, whether it's Birmingham or Mountain Brook or Homewood. We live in this county together, Jefferson County, Shelby County, Madison County, Mobile County. We live in this state together. We live in the United States together. I just want to bring civility back as a lawmaker and just make sure we're working together and doing what is good and doing what is right for Alabama citizens.
For sure.
Okay, segueing to like a little bit of a different issue, inflation. It really has hit hardworking families super hard recently. So do you have any plans or ideas on how to handle this inflation, or what economic policies would you support in the Senate?
Well, one thing that's happened that we've already talked about is just the instability of whether or not people should be working or not working, or will be able to keep their jobs. And I think people are so afraid right now. They're afraid to spend, which does not help our economy. So I hope we can get in and, first of all, just make sure that we are stabilize things and put Alabamians in a position where they feel comfortable. Outside of that, let's have policies that are certain, that are time proven. We just the other day, this current administration, they have imposed tariffs on other countries, and the U.S. Supreme Court has come with the decision saying that this was unconstitutional because taxing power belongs to Congress, the Senate, and the House. not the president. Well, I mean, this causes us problems economically in this country. This causes problems. This causes uncertainty within this country. But we just need to get back to doing things that are proven, that are sensible, that are and as they are outlined in the Constitution. In Article 1, the Congress and Senate has their duties. Article 2, the president has his duties. And Article 3, the courts, federal courts, have their duties. And they exercise one of those duties by making a ruling and ruling that taxing power belongs to Congress, which is the House and the Senate again.
Yeah. So expanding on tariffs, would you personally support tariffs to protect American manufacturing or not because of the high consumer prices?
I don't know what all the rationale is at this point in causing or why the president wants to impose tariffs on other countries. A lot of these countries are our friends, at this day and time. I would think that, if we raise tariffs for products that are coming in from other countries, then those products are going to have higher prices. And so does that hurt, the American citizen when the prices are higher? So those are some things we're going to have to look at and study and get more understanding of. I'm not in the Senate right now, but make decisions as to whether or not tariffing, placing tariffs on, other countries is a great economical thing for us to do. So for once elected as your U.S. Senator, I do plan to look at the issues and all taxing issues and just try to make it fair for all Americans and all Alabamians for sure.
Was that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you've talked a little bit about like increasing job stability, especially with like the federal government and their workers. But what is your plan to do to like improve the job market for Alabama?
Well, again, we just talked about stabilizing things and, making sure that funding that has been allocated are used for the things that Congress has allocated, those funds. And it's just not affecting people who are working in government. More people are working in the private sector versus the government, but we need to this is just a segment of of our workforce and what we have in America. But we need to make sure that is stabilized, and it affects, let's take the VA, for instance. I mean, you have those medical providers, the social workers, all the people that work in the VA, and they're uncertain about their jobs, but they also provide vital services for veterans, for people who have fought for our country. They're given some time out of their lives for our country. And we should make sure that they have the best medical care, when they come back and they're suffering with physical and mental health issues, and just make sure those funds are allocated, make sure we have the people in place that will take care of our veterans, especially, after they've gone in tough conflicts and they've come back and they've served their country and they're suffering as a result of what they endured and fighting for this country.
For sure. Talking about jobs and opportunities and all of that makes me think of your time at Legacy Works and kind of what you've learned there about opportunities for young people. I was kind of wondering, do you see a vision with your time in the Senate of specific projects or legislation that would accomplish this goal of supporting young people and setting up their future of success?
Right. I don't have any specific legislation, plans, but I do care about people.
Mhm.
I care about young people being successful. I'm happy and I'm excited to see that I have a couple of young people before me now, and I just care about young people. And that's why I work. I decided to take the position of a board member for Legacy Works. And some of these young men have gone to college, transitioned into college from that program, where they were picked up at 14, 15, 16 years old. Some have certifications in electrical work, plumbing work, things like trades. So, I think that's very important that we help young people to get certifications, to be prepared for college, so that they can have successful lives, successful families, and then we start a generation of not only them being successful, but their progeny will be successful as well.
Segueing to another issue, would you support stricter border control, more lenient legal immigration pathways, or a mix of both?
I thought about that a whole lot, and I think there should be border control. And just when I think of border control, I think about protecting the border, not necessarily going inland to cities, within the United States. But I think where we're broken is, and that's something I would do when elected to the U.S. Senate, we need to look at funding for immigration judges and attorneys and see if we can break the bottleneck and get people into the courts and make a decision as to whether or not they should become U.S. citizens, make a decision as whether or not they should be be granted permanent residency or work visas or whatever through the court. Yeah, I personally don't like this idea of us going in, because I care about people again, pulling, children away from their mothers, pulling children away from their fathers, pulling husbands and wives, apart. I mean, that's traumatic. I mean, that's just heart-wrenching for me. And one thing I think that we can do is appropriately fund the courts and try to get the immigration courts to a point where they can hear these cases, and then we can make a decision. Yes, you get to stay in the United States, or no, you must go back to your country. And I just think that would be a better way to handle immigration.
For sure. So Alabama consistently ranks poorly in healthcare access, and specifically there's been rural hospitals closing. What reforms will you prioritize in regards to healthcare, and do you support the federal government subsidizing rural hospitals?
Based on these questions, I think you've been reading my website.
Just a bit.
Is that right? I think that I was in Aniana last night, and I was in Lawrence County last week. And some of those places, if you needed to call an ambulance for a medical emergency, it might take the ambulance, an hour to get there, and then an hour to get you to a hospital. So, I think that we as the U.S. Senate should look at funding for the rural areas and have rural hospitals and doctors, and give incentives for doctors to practice in rural areas. But in Alabama, we have not taken advantage of Medicaid expansion. I don't know if you guys know that or not. But that's nothing the U.S. Senate can, I couldn't do anything about that as the United States Senator. That's something where the citizens of Alabama need to talk to their legislators, the state Senate and the governor, and say, we want, to expand Medicaid, Medicaid in Alabama, and that way we could potentially use this federal funds, which has already been allocated by the Senate and the House by Congress, but we can use federal funds to provide more medical providers in rural areas of Alabama.
Alabama has one of the most crowded correctional facilities and systems, and a lot of sparse amounts of staff as well. So, would you support a federal criminal justice reform that imposes nationwide standards on correctional facilities?
I think the key to, we're spending all this money on correctional facilities, as you have stated. What if we spent more money on education? What if we spent more money to help the young boys that are at Legacy Works and places like that? I'm not just saying Legacy Works. What if we use federal funds to help more young girls, like the girls at Child Haven, and provided them with opportunities where they wouldn't get in trouble or have to spend time in prison? Prison is like, being in a cage, like a lion or a tiger in a cage at the zoo, or animals in a cage at the zoo. Certainly prison is appropriate for heinous crimes and some things that some people are, because we need to protect society. But we need to bend over backwards to make sure we're sending people to prison when we can avoid it. If we can educate them, give them a good public education, not cut the funds indiscriminately like Doge has. I'm a product of public education. I went to public schools for my undergraduate degree in computer science and for my MBA. And because of public schools, I decided to go on to law school, and I'm here and I'm running for U.S. Senate. But I was given an alternative. So I think if we use funding on the front end to help kindergartners and make sure that they have food and clothes and housing, and that they're taken care of and have the opportunity for trades and education, whether they're boys or girls, so that they can have a better opportunity at life and their families can have a better opportunity at life, their children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, then we wouldn't have to focus so much on locking people up who look like you and me in correctional facilities.
Completely.
I think there's a different way.
Mm-hmm. For sure. What's your opinion on gun legislation and control?
I'm a lawyer. I've gone to law school. I understand the Constitution. I understand the amendments. I believe that, I believe in the Constitution again. I believe in the First Amendment. I believe that we have free speech. I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe that we have the rights as United States citizens to bear arms. On that note, I don't need a machine gun, at my house. I don't need a military weapon, at my house. Is there a way, if some individuals want to have some of these weapons for sport, can you go to a place that's designated, to have, but I still don't know what the purpose would be. But you have the right to bear arms, but we have folks who have guns and switches, and which changes them into machine guns, and that's dangerous. So we need to look at it and make sure that we are careful about the type of guns that might be out on the street.
So you're running as a Democrat.
I am.
Republicans, independents, people are undecided. Why should they trust you with their vote?
Because I am an Alabamian.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in Alabama since 1979. I understand that's before y'all were born, right? I understand Alabamians, and I understand Alabama values. I believe in Alabama, and I believe Alabama can believe in me, because I will represent all of the citizens of Alabama, and I will represent all of the citizens fairly and according to the Constitution of the United States. You can count on me. So just vote for Wess for Senate, May the 19th. That's WESS4Senate.com.
So last question, in one sentence, why should people vote for you?
Because I am Everett Wess, the best candidate for the United States Senate. So you should go out and tell Lottie, Dottie, and everybody to vote for Everett Wess, U.S. Senate. He believes in Alabama. I believe in Alabama. I believe in you, and you can believe in me.
Aw, I love that. It was beautiful saying.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
Right.
For us. This was
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Well-
for inviting me.
Thank you for coming. So, thank you for watching.
Yes.
Don't forget to vote on May 19th in the primary, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.